Stefanie, welcome to the Simply Messy podcast.
I know, it's a long time coming, right?
5 years later. Oh, no, it hasn't been 5 years.
Awesome logo, Matt.
Yeah, that's our logo behind there. Isn't that crazy? Do you remember? I want to start out so people understand, because we're going to be talking about the journey of the show or just doing something. We were sitting in the hospital. Do you remember the story? We were designing our logo, and it was simply Master Simplicity.
Mastering Simplicity. Oh, my gosh, I remember that. Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
Too many years.
Because I didn't have my first kid. I didn't have Mateo. I had Renzo. It was like, wow, and it was probably 2 kids less than you had, right?
I know, right?
So.
It is amazing how long we've come and how many times we've tried to record and re-record this podcast. And we literally live this podcast every single day.
Every day. And then I think we tried it once when we both were hiding. You were hiding in a closet, and I was outside in my pool outside. We have a bathroom outside, so I was hiding out there.
Right.
So Mateo wouldn't find me. And
Well,
I think you're hiding, yeah.
I feel like that is so representative of what this podcast is all about. And so I know we've kind of recapped a little bit as to why we're doing this podcast to begin with, but I feel like the logo behind me, which I love, definitely represents what the Simply Messy podcast is all about. And just us getting to this moment right now is exactly why we're doing this, because our lives are very messy and, all the things that we have going on with our businesses, our kids, work, life, and everything that happens in our universe. And then here we are trying to just tell the world about our lives, because I feel like everybody's navigating the same lives that we are.
Well, I think also the fun thing about podcasts in general, it's getting content that people can use, right? I consume podcasts all the time. And I've had many of the podcasts where I've done my own, and I had a Purpose-Driven Person podcast for a long time.
Yeah, I remember that. That was an awesome podcast.
Yeah, I did about 60 episodes or so, and it was fun interviewing people in our industry or just purpose-driven people. And I think this one's just like purpose-driven people are messy because they're creative.
Right.
And and also people that think they're organized, they are messy in a sense, because messiness they're in their own world, right? Mm-hmm. They could be organized in their head, but they're not a part of that. And I think that's what we came up with, is that Simply Messy podcast is, you might have everything like together in your career, but then you come home and it's messy.
Oh, absolutely.
Because your son or daughter can't stand you because you're so logical, or they can't connect with you, or it might be vice versa. And I've seen that with clients over the years. Like, they're really successful in their career, but have a hard time. And it's really rare you get somebody that really has dialed it in, but it's taken that messiness to get to that.
Absolutely.
That cohesiveness, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people where they're so organized and so methodical at work, and then you visit them outside of their professional lives, and their personal lives look like, just a chaotic mess. But then they always say to you, no, it's an organized mess.
It's organized chaos.
It's organized chaos, and I feel like I live that all the time. I think everybody who sees me at work or in any professional setting, they're like, okay, you have your stuff together, everything's scheduled out, everything's organized. Then as soon as you walk into my house, though,
oh, yeah.
my husband is a testament of how messy I am, because he literally lectures me every single day about something being out of place, or maybe a mess not being cleaned up yet, because I literally have baskets and loads of laundry from 3 weeks ago.
So is that because you're so on it at work, your desk, everything, and then you come home and you're just like tired? Like, what happens there?
I mean, a little bit of both. Like, I feel like when you are out in the professional world, you have this character, this facade, this person that you're trying to portray. And I think everything that you do that other people see of you, you want it represented a certain way, right? And so I feel like you become different versions of yourself. At least that's what it is for me. So I tend to be this kind of chameleon, and I don't know if it's just me or maybe my background, in being a therapist and a counselor, and just I read people. So I can tell when they're uncomfortable. I can tell what makes them uncomfortable, what makes them not uncomfortable, and then I feed off of the positives and the things that make them be who they are. Yeah. So in a sense, I change who I am in order to make sure that they're comfortable with who they are, right? So yes, it becomes very draining to be that person, to keep everything in, the outside world organized. So as soon as I step into my house, I feel like it is a safe place, because nobody judges me. And the people that do, which are my kids and my husband, like, I don't feel uncomfortable with them judging me because they know who I am. And, you know, like, I can be myself around them.
Yeah.
So as soon as I walk into the house, it's like, no, I don't have to have my hair done a certain way. I don't have to have my clothes done, you know, be a certain way. I don't care if my closet looks like a mess because I know where those items are because I know where I stacked them, you know. But it's not going to be like that, you know, in the outside world. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people have a hard time because they get so caught up they have to be a certain way. So you're talking about freedom right now, like.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can walk in the home, and even though Alan's after you, like, hey, why isn't this in place? My wife does the same. Alan and my wife are.
I swear.
My wife Celine's like Alan. So
Alan
Celine's
and Celine
like,
are so much alike in so many ways. It's funny that like we are literally married to like our spouses.
I will go, but it's different. Alan doesn't touch your stuff, right?
I mean,
well,
sometimes.
He put it, okay, yeah. I'll be going in and I'll be like, hey, where is this? And then I'll find it in a cabinet or in a cupboard. Because in hers, as long as it's not on the counter, it's not making, because she has the pills just like in the right way.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And then I'll be like, I had this, and I'll go, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
So I just go start looking in cabinets and I'll find it. So as long as she'll throw it all in my closet. And so this year I've really put an effort into organizing my closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went in and I gutted it. And then I went and bought all these I've been good at it. But what happens, it blows up for a minute. Then I have to go and spend one day to reorganize it. That you never do that, right? Your closet's.
No, my closet's a mess every single day.
See, we're creative people.
Yeah.
Yeah, creative people.
See, but how's that going for you with your closet though?
Well, it doesn't stress me out because like here's the thing. I'll get like making the bed doesn't stress me out. Or some people need that bed made, right? It goes into temperament. It goes into personalities, right? Like, to me, that's not the most important thing. To some, they get out of bed, they make the bed, right?
Yeah.
They have to have everything or they can't function. And that's okay. Each is their own. And so, like, Alan or Celine, that's big for them.
Right.
Like that. And that's why Simply Messy is that we got to let each other be who we are. And like, I'll get up and she'll say, can you make the bed? So she requests it. Now I'm not going to make it like her, right?
Yeah.
Because here's what I had to learn, which was frustrating. I'd make it, and guess what? She'd come remake it. I don't know if Alan's that way.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. No, like I feel like he just observes it, makes a comment about it, and then like leaves it alone. Yeah. And so you're right. I don't think he touches my stuff like how Celine touches your stuff, and it's just like, okay. Yeah. But for me, it's almost like he's like mentally reorganizing my stuff just by giving me those looks and making those comments so that I'm like, maybe I should move those things around because he's made a comment about something, you know. Yeah. So it's so funny. And I love that we're talking about this because I feel like everybody needs to know that this is exactly why we wanted to do this, 3 years ago, right? I think we recorded the first episode of the Simply Messy podcast back in 2023. I remember pulling up the recording of it. And I remember that day we had our Zoom call, we had our AirPods on, and that was our mic. Yeah. And then I was literally sitting on the floor in my bedroom with stacks of papers. I feel like I tell this story all the time because I was still working on my dissertation at that time, getting ready to complete my doctorate degree. I had 2 kids at that time, and we were just talking about how our lives are so chaotic and you know, just navigating a business and people and, you know, the state of politics and which is, I feel like, still going on and just living our lives the way that we do with our kids and our family, but also our professional lives with, you know, just the people that we had to deal with at work and, you know, with the businesses that we do help and consult with and just being able to navigate it all and then coming back and being like, okay, are you going through that too? Because I'm going through that too. Every day.
Yeah, every day. We're, you know, as a father and as a husband, it's like messiness. You're trying to say, okay, what's more priority and what's not. Like, and then when you come home and you've been doing things, because my lifestyle is a little different, because I work from home, and so then I'm always available, right? Yeah. So that's not always good.
That isn't always good.
Yeah, because they'll think, well, you're not working, you're just on a meeting. And I'm like, well, I'm busy. Don't come into my office until I'm done. But it's okay because what happens is messiness is what we create. Yeah. And but it's okay. I think, and I want to go back to that. Why, and then I'll finish this thought because I want everybody to understand, why did you come up? Because you're the one that said simply messy. You came up with it. Where did you have that aha moment? Because I think you're hitting it right now. So when people listen to the show and they know, why do they want to listen to us?
Because I think that we all try to hide behind the organized.
Yeah, the facades.
The facade of being organized, being perfect, that everything looks like that Instagram perfect picture, but really it isn't. Because, I feel like when I do have the opportunity to really open up and talk to my closest friends and family and the people that I trust, everyone is going through that same messy life as I am. And I thought that I was the only one, and I had to clean up, or I had to organize, or I had to be better, do better. And instead, it's like, no, everybody's going through the same things. And then it ends up being that we become, I think, stronger people in our messiness. We become stronger people when we're able to really kind of, take on these challenges and the chaos and the messiness head on. And, and the reason I say simply messy is because I think sometimes we think too much about everything, right?
Yeah.
And so the ability to just simply be, I think, is what people forget.
And that's hard, just to simply be. And I love that you kind of came to that, because you've been a therapist. You've worked with people. You've been working through all this with people. I've been coaching people for a long time. And I agree with you, because everybody, just to be in purpose and just not worry about all the things you can't control. And it's easier to say than do, right?
Right.
And so I think in the Simply Messy, we're going to address those stressors. We're going to really help you understand, hey, this is what we went through this week or this last month. And we're going to kind of give you some solutions in that. I think that's what the listeners are going to get from our podcast, is like a way to find solutions in a messy situation.
Or a way for them to find their own solutions based on what we've gone through. Because I don't think there's ever a one-size-fit-all or a guidebook or instruction manual for all the problems that we face every day. Yeah. But I do get that, we learn from our own experiences and others' experiences. And I mean, I feel like that's why people listen to podcasts, read books, and having conversations with each other, or even when somebody goes to a therapist, or a coach, it's like you think you're going in hoping that they'll tell you what to do, but instead you come to that conclusion yourself, being able to just, put everything out on the table, and this is life, and let me pick up the pieces that are most important to me, and then make a decision or make a choice based on that,
And that's the biggest thing, is that people think they have to have all the answers. You don't.
You don't.
Yeah. And I love it. If you're looking at I love the logo, by the way. I'm looking at it more.
I love it too.
Yeah, it's grown on me. I think that one's fun.
Because
it represents our lives. It's just a lot of stuff going on, and that's okay.
But I mean, like, for example, like even electronics, right? Like when I first saw that, I was like,
oh yeah.
Because like even that, like we talk about this all the time, like giving our kids electronics, or us like being on the screen, being on our phones.
Yeah,
I know we were like, oh, should we put our phones away during this recording? But it's like, no, it's so normal to have our phones right next to each other, or even now using our devices to help with different things instead of the old school like paper, pencil, or whatnot, But even that, right? It's like, okay, we have grown so much in terms of technology and what it can do. So just being able to evolve and pick our battles with, okay, maybe, how do we have the conversation of limiting electronics versus when electronics are, helpful and good and beneficial for what we need to do. And I mean, we've had in recent conversations about like AI technology too. And I'd love to have a whole episode on AI technology and what we can do with that. But I just feel like these are conversations that people either are set on their own ways and opinions and, and don't know what choices and what changes they need to make. And us just having raw conversations about it hopefully will help people say, oh, well, that's a good point, or that's a good idea. And, I honestly feel like what we're really going to do is going to use our own family and kids as guinea pigs to
I think
figure out life. Right?
When I used to do podcasts all the time, I would always use them.
Right.
Because it's the reference we have. And it's like the electronics, for instance, like we all do the death scrolling on our devices. Phones. Yeah. Yep. And here's what I love this, and I learned this a long time ago, and I thought about this the other day because I was like, dang, I'm just going to try to put it away for a minute and walk away. But this is something couples, or if you're in a relationship or with yourself, because if you don't find a way to connect, and if you're not scheduling those things,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just find something else to do. Like,
Right.
so desk scrolling is not the most healthy thing, and we all do it. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're just so structured you don't. Good for you, but it is the biggest issue right now.
Right.
People just get on and you start, and they're doing that because there is devices to keep you scrolling. They don't think they don't have a whole marketing team to see how they can keep you screen time.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about screen time, right? They want you on there.
Right.
So you really have to decide, like, if it's date night, if it's couples reconnecting, because those things are important, because, like, it's not the TV that's the issue. It's what are you going to do when the TV's off? Are you going to have a conversation? Are you going to go play a board game?
Right.
Or are you going to go do something to fill that? Because we are so plugged in 24/7. I had this debate with my wife and one of her friends. We were talking about it was a weird conversation. Why do men cheat? Well, it's because they choose. No, there's a lot of, that's a huge dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at, because if you love, and you're a therapist, so you get this. It's the dynamics of connection. It's the dynamics of, are we feeding the relationship, right? Are we being present? Because if the person is unhealthy to begin with, it's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, and this is just this is the messiness. These are the conversations that are going to come up.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, no, and it was funny to be in between two they're two Hispanic women, so that was fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and
that's probably a great
it
situation
was
for
fun.
you to be in, Matt.
She's the one friend I love to, because they're fun. It's fun to have those conversations, because it's, opinions are always opinions, right? But being on our field that we've been in so long and working with so many individuals over the years, it's, in anything you do, it's choice. It's looking at it. So, like, the electronics, the sports, you're in cheer. You have cheer going on.
I know.
You have what else you have? You got tons of stuff going on in your home.
Yeah.
And so we don't think, but at work you're very structured, but then you go home and it's like, oh, where do we go now?
But even then, right? I was just telling somebody the other day that I feel like it's like running a business, and your family is the business,
that's
right?
What I did
and your business partner is your spouse. Your spouse is your business partner, and sometimes, that's hard because if you have somebody, that I mean, obviously they're your spouse. You married them for a reason, but at the same time, you can have so many differences, and the way that you want to run this business, this household, might be very different. And I feel like if we aren't able to have those conversations, we really don't know how to navigate this business, and the business is going to fail, right? So what are you going to do when your family business is going to fail and the business is your family, right? And that's kind of the conversations that I don't think we have enough, because either we're embarrassed to have it, or we don't want people to know that our lives are not perfect, and that our family isn't perfect, or that our marriages aren't perfect. But really, I feel like perfection is subjective, right? Like, your perfect is not the same as my perfect. And maybe the messiness is part of my perfection, because I don't want that white picket fence lifestyle, because that might be the picture perfect storybook life, but it's not the life that I want. And, a lot of people aren't able to, be honest with that, or just be a little bit vulnerable, so that we can actually have those conversations about it.
Yeah, be open, be free, because every couple, like, if we talk about relationships, everybody fights, everybody doesn't get along, we have ups and downs. You're not a perfect parent all the time either, right?
I am absolutely not.
No, I'm not either. Like,
parent,
my oldest, he can make me very frustrated, and me and you have how many skill sets outside of the home dealing with kids and parents and families.
And then when it comes to our own kids, it's totally different.
I've probably lost my cool so many times with my oldest, because he knows he knows me. He knows all my weaknesses. He knows. So when you're in a professional setting, they don't know all that.
Yeah.
We're just giving them advice. We're giving them skill sets. And it's just communication and skills. So when you get, like, he has the thing, he's funny because he's now 15. You remember Ansel when he was little.
I cannot believe
6
that
foot
he
now.
is 15.
Yeah.
That is insane to me.
You haven't seen him. Once you see him, he's like 3 times taller than you. And like, he's up here now. And you remember when he'd come to the office and he'd be like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, him and Caitlin were so small.
Yeah.
So it's funny, because what he'll do is he just knows, he's very green, he's very analytical. he'll poke you, poke you, poke you. You say, why are you getting mad? I'm like, really? And then so he knows what to do. And parents, what I always teach parents, kids know your weaknesses. They know all the things you do bad because you're going to be yourself in your home.
Yeah.
And they're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're seeing everything you do. They have a microscope. And so as little teeny attorneys, they're pulling it in and says, well, you said this. And that's Matt Teo, the 9-year-old. He's the little attorney. He'll pull it and he'll start showing that, why are you doing this? And that's the messy thing, because I always laugh because my friends that are doctors, psychiatrists, therapists, really good in their world, but when they go home, it's messy.
Yeah.
Because you can't be on 24/7.
No, you can't.
No.
And, just like I pointed out, like when I walk into my house, it's my safe space. So, I shouldn't have to be on, right?
No, you can't.
But then, you brought up a good point. It's like as soon as you walk into the house, now your kids are looking at you. Now your partner's looking at you.
Don't they suck your energy, those kids?
They do.
You sit next to them and you're like.
And then, and then it makes you wonder. It's like, wait, should I still be on? Because,
parent?
right,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a good parent, so maybe I shouldn't turn it off, even though this is my safe zone, but that's the stuff that we're navigating, though.
But it's harder for us because here's what I had a lot of guilt at one time because I'm helping other people's families. I'm helping their kids.
Oh.
And then my kids are not getting the best of me because I'm tired.
Right.
Did you ever go through that? Like I come home and I'm like,
yeah,
I just spent chasing kids or working with kids and parents, and then I'm so tired when I get home.
You give your best to other people,
Yeah,
but then you don't give
have you
your
ever
best
had
at
that?
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point.
In our career, it's big in the helping career.
Yeah.
Because therapists will tell you that they'll just be too tired to, or they kick into becoming therapists in their home. And how does that work out?
Yeah, and that's why you should never, be a therapist to a friend or a family member. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, coaching, anything.
Right, exactly. So imagine like going home and trying to, do the same for your family. And it's hard because you're also the person that's trying to, improve yourself, be you, and, try to fix everything and take the stuff that you learn and apply it into your life. And it's like, I don't have the energy for that. Like, I just want to be able to go home and, like I said, it's my safe zone. Like, I should just be able to just let everything out and, throw everything off and just be me. And sometimes you're right. Like I like that you pointed that out, that, we're giving our best to other people, but when we come home and we're so exhausted, is it fair that our family and the people that are closest to us are not getting the best of us because we've just let our entire guard down at that point when we get home, you know?
Yeah, I think it's hard because it's all those little things from the parenting, thinking we're failing at it, from the failures we think are, because and this is something too. We've known each other how long? It's been
15 years,
15 more,
probably.
How old's your youngest?
Well, my youngest now
how's
is
your oldest? She's 13.
12, 8, and then I have a 20-month-old now.
Yeah, because I think the youngest, when I met you, Rancel was like 4.
Yeah.
Or maybe younger. 2012, right? Or 13, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I still have the first picture we did.
Isn't that crazy?
One meeting,
I remember my oldest one was sitting, you remember, on top of a conference table, and she was helping us put mailers together.
I remember that, yeah.
She must have been like 2.
Yeah, and looking at it now, the reason I brought that up is we've known each other for a long time, and I think another thing in messiness in the world and being in the home, because we've been doing this a long time. Like we've owned outpatient clinics, we've done a lot of things, and we know human behavior. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because we also know it, but then we have a hard time with it. So let's talk about this. I think this is a messy piece. So couples, because this is the cool thing about the Messy podcast, because we're going to talk about cool things that we get in conversations with
all
people.
the time.
So one of the things I got asked once is, hey, when you first get into a relationship, things are different. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Then as you get older, what you did then is not what you did now. And so do you find because I know on the male side, but on the females, when you go through that do you have to, because I think it's different for you as females in the relationship, because now you've been married how long now?
Oh, gosh.
It's been a while.
It's been, I think it's 14 years married, 19 years together.
Yeah, you guys longer, just a little longer than me and Celine.
Yeah.
Because when I met you, you guys had been married for a minute.
I say that our relationship is more than a grown adult now. 19 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ours is. I just know mine's on Valentine's, so I don't forget
I
it.
know. I don't forget your anniversary too because of that very reason.
Valentine's,
Smart on it being Valentine's Day.
There's a whole story. We'll go into that later. But so the funny thing, and this is from me. I sat back one time and I says, man, it's like, and I tell my wife this, a relationship's like going to the gym. You put time into
Right.
working your body, but a lot of times we don't do that for our relationship. So we assume it stays the same when we're all excited, because when you remember when you guys first dated, it was all fun and it was exciting. And then has that changed? Do you have to work
Absolutely.
at it now? Yeah.
But you have to think about this, and I heard this from someone where, like, do you really expect that you're going to be with the same person for the rest of your life? I know that the saying is that, right? Oh, I'm getting married and I can't wait to be with this person for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But really, if you think about it, you are meeting a new person every season.
And go further in that, because this is where people get caught up, and this is where messiness starts.
Right. Because even if you think about my relationship, 19 years, just an individual person in 19 years changes so much. Their taste, their style, their philosophies, their opinions, and every part of your life shapes who you are.
Yeah.
So if you've been with that person for 19 years, do not expect that person is going to be the same person that you met 19 years ago. Because and this is where people should take it, not as a bad thing, but as an exciting thing, because you get to literally have that puppy love honeymoon phase with every season this person changes, right? Yeah. Whether they change in a couple of years, whether they change after something impactful has happened, you're meeting a new person, a new version of them, right?
And you get to celebrate the wins that they have.
But you also get to experience the challenges that they have too, which I think really gives strength to your relationship. When you can overcome challenging times together, it's almost like an obstacle, a finish line that you guys were able to cross together, right? And then that creates a new relationship between the two of you. Now you are at a different phase of your relationship, and it's exciting again because now you two are a new duo together, but you as a person are also a new person too. Yeah. And so instead of saying, I get to spend the rest of my life with this one person that I met 19 years ago is not true to me. It's I get to, meet this new person every season. And by what I mean by season is that you never know when that new person is going to come along, whether it's, the birth of our third child versus the birth of our first child. Like, he is a different person as a third, child. With I know, right? And it's so funny, like we, haven't told people about like how different but how similar we are. But the difference is like how you had you have two boys, I had two girls, and I have three girls, and you got to catch up now.
Yeah, I can't get done.
But you know what? But just like the juxtaposition between our two lives, like I feel like you are definitely like the conservative white male, and I'm like here the very liberal, minority female with the two girls, two boys, three girls now.
No, three.
But imagine like how long we've known each other and how different we have become. But it doesn't mean that we're a different person per se. It's a different version of us, and
the
we
values
get to,
are still there.
And I think even with our differences and our differences in opinions and our difference in beliefs and our difference in faith, there's a lot of similarity as well that we pull from that. But I think, as I've said, in past versions of this podcast that we've recorded, I always come back to the thing that kind of holds us together as friends, you and I, even though we live such very different lives going in the same direction, is just how we value family, how we value faith, but also how we value human kindness and in everything we do, regardless of our differences. And so I'm excited to be able to kind of go down this journey with you and have like the fun arguments, the bantering of like just how different our lives are from our perspective, but also like I respect you as a person, so I know that I feel safe in having these conversations with you,
And that's the thing in our seasons. I love the season thing because we have all grow in seasons, and we're all different in seasons, and things change. But I think a lot of times our brains don't catch up to the seasons. Our bodies do, and we're like, okay, this is a different season. My knees hurt. I'm seeing different changes, all the gray hair that I have to paint now so it doesn't look gray.
But, just like what you said earlier about how you have to do the work to keep your body fit,
you do.
Right?
And your relationship, everything.
You have to do the work to keep your mind fit. You have to do the work to keep your emotional resilience fit too. And I think people don't think about that. we talk about the term mental health all the time,
Oh, yeah.
but what that is could be so many different things to so many people. And so, but the one thing that I think people forget is the ability to be able to emotionally regulate, and
That's
to be
true.
resilient emotionally, right?
And it takes a lot of work because especially with the seasons and the things going around us in the world, like today, the world's different than 15 years ago when we met.
Right.
And it's a different environment. There's things going on. We went from being very free and open to where now you can't share your thoughts and opinions on things. And so it's hard. And that's where I think we like that, because we can talk about them, because it's not that, like you say, liberal versus conservative. I really don't care. I think I'm more of a purple dinosaur, because I just want people to get things done. And so, like, it's those kind of things, those conversations. Like, yes, we can put each other in boxes, but I don't think we've done that. Like,
No.
I think we've just seen for what we are. Like, that's Stefanie. She has 3 girls. She has a doctor as a husband that looks at eyes all day, and he's a lot like my wife. And
Very gold.
Yeah, and we love to travel, so we talk about those things.
Yes.
And then we'll get into the world, but it doesn't mean it's wrong or right. It's just like, because like a lot of things you'll say, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Why do they do that? I don't get it. Like,
you're right. I don't think there is a wrong or a right,
No,
or
there
right or
isn't.
wrong. I like that you bring that up. I think it's just a matter of trying to understand each other.
Yeah.
So, because if I'm able to learn from you, then
Correct.
I get to grow as a person, and I say that all the time. Like I am in front of a room all the time, teaching classes, doing trainings and workshops and things like that. And I always tell people at the beginning, I am excited to see what I learn from you guys. I know you came into the room to learn from me, but at the end of the day, I'm going to learn so much from you, because I do. So every time I get into a room, I come with my material because that's what they signed up for. And I come prepared with everything and all the PowerPoints, all the handouts. But it is the conversation with the people in the room and what they get from the material that I give them, and what was their aha moment and their reflection that I learned from them. And I feel like I have more and more to use based on just the conversations and experiences that I have with other people. So,
and I think culture, that brings to, like you say, everybody in that room brings a big culture. Like, your big culture is what's in that room, and then everybody has their small culture, which is their individual cultures.
Yeah.
And that's what is based upon our American culture. It's every culture blended together.
it is. It
Because
really
there is no real such thing as an American culture, because we all come from different places. Like, and it's fun. And I saw that when I traveled a lot. Like, when I lived in Hawaii, it was everybody lived there.
Yep.
Vegas is the same way. It's a melting pot of a lot of cultures.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Everybody says Vegas is a very transient town. It's because people come and go as they please, and there's only so many people that actually can say, I am a Las Vegas native. I've been here all of my life.
Well,
I am.
You were born in St. George, Utah.
But I never lived in St. George.
I know.
Oh, that's a whole other story to tell. But absolutely.
But you're a native here.
I am a Las Vegas native. I've never lived anywhere else.
It's crazy.
I mean, I did a small 10 months in San Diego, but that was about it. Otherwise, I've been here all of my life. And I feel like that is definitely, I like how you said it is a melting pot of people and cultures. And because of that, it is such a weird place to live and to raise kids, especially with how education is here, how healthcare is here. And so, I'm excited to be able to talk about that in our podcast as well. And I don't think a lot of people know the ins and outs of that too. I think they live the lives, but they don't understand the background, being a business owner, being a healthcare provider, and what that looks like. And
I think a lot of times people get in their own little sphere or their little area in the world. And Vegas is big, but it's small.
Yep.
And we all know each other. And we form opinions. And I think this is funny, because we're going to talk about this a lot in the podcast, where the biggest fear of human beings is to be rejected and not liked, and also be judged, right? So, like, I found Vegas has really good pockets of individuals, and you have to really – it's been fun to live here. It's just – there's a lot of really cool people that live in Vegas.
When did you move to Las Vegas, Matt?
In 2009. So I've been here. But I grew up in the city you were born in.
St. George.
Yeah, so
we're going to have to do like a traveling episode to
We'll
St. George one of these days.
Yeah, St. George is fun, but and they have podcast studios. We'll go up there and do one. But St. George, it was a fun thing. But coming here was like a shocker, because I never thought I'd move to Vegas.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to move out of where I was living, but coming to Vegas opened up a lot of cool people that I met in the journey, and I think what we're going to talk about in our show is how do we navigate the day-to-day life, because a lot of us get into we're our own worst enemies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if that
I
makes
completely agree. I think
yeah.
we look at ourselves, judge ourselves more than anybody else.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I have a good extent on my background in knowing, judging ourselves and struggling. So we're going to talk about a lot about resilience and how to overcome things. And it's been most of my life is just resilience and overcoming things, dealing with a learning disability and have to navigate it, because we're totally opposite there. Like book wise, you're like, you love that stuff. Like school is so easy in a sense to you. To me, it was tough, but I'm street smart and I'm very savvy in other areas, and that's why I think we complement in business.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why we talked about a lot of consulting, working with each other on those things, because you can't have the same person in the same room.
You can't.
No.
And I think that resilience is being able to recognize what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and find somebody who can fill in those gaps for you instead of trying to fill all the gaps yourself, you know? And I think a lot of people try to do that. They want to be the best at everything and they want to check all the boxes off. But, you know, what I've learned, you know, just figuring out who I am today, I think what I've learned is knowing where my weaknesses are and finding the people that could help me with those weaknesses, right? Instead of, you know, and yes, we love to highlight our positives and our strengths. And I think we have always been told to do that, right? Find our positive, find our strengths, and then really just kind of pull on that. For me, I sometimes look for the weaknesses, because I want to be able to say, okay, what can I work on? What are my challenges? Why are these my weaknesses? And who are the people around me that can fill in those gaps for me? Because those are going to be the people that are in my inner circle and the people that I, you know, can learn from the most.
Yeah, it's kind of a theory is like, imagine marrying yourself. If you married somebody identical to you, it would be crazy, right?
It wouldn't be, like you would think that, oh, I want, you know who I am and what I want, but I don't think I'd want to be married
they don't
to myself.
last. I think statistically, we know this just being in the field, is if you marry a really high, we'll just use our colors. If I have a really fun person that's just always partying and doing everything, and we both do that all the time and nobody's being responsible, how's that going to work out? It's not going to work out very well. So you always want to balance each other, and I think it's just finding, and I love what you say, is find, because there's going to be like things you're just not going to be good at. Like you just don't like it. You don't want to really work on it, and that's okay. But I might be really good at it, and I'm going to heighten that, and you're going to say, you do that, I'll do this. And I'll say,
but
hey,
it's
that's
also
great.
accepting that you're not good at everything.
That's
and I
hard
think that is hard for a lot of people to say, I am not good at this. Can I ask you about this? Can you help me with this? I'm just never going to be good at
spelling, so don't ask me.
But you don't need to anymore. Now autocorrect is everywhere.
Well, you can siphon. You used to be good at translating my text messages when I'd send them over. Now I have whisper flow, so I just talk.
I don't get to translate your messages.
No, AI's been a blessing for me. It's been like a wheelchair, or it's like giving me new legs. I don't know how to explain it. Like with
But see, a lot of people are against it because they're afraid of it. But a lot of people really benefit from it, and that's a really good example of something that's in our time that's very controversial. You know.
Yeah, I think what it's done for me, it's helped me able to be the spoken word, because I can speak. I can get on a stage and speak, train, do all that stuff. But then when it comes to the written word, that's your strength.
Yeah.
But now I can match to you, because now like when we used to be in school, if they had what's called an IEP, an education learning plan, and so individual education plan, and so that would the design of that is supposed to even the playing ground, right? Well, it didn't really, because even though they gave me accommodations, you were still going to outperform me, if that makes sense. There's just no way to do that. Now what AI has done is now I can match it, because I can intellectually tell AI what I need, which intellectually when I speak it still matches your level. But I'm not like it's a game changer. I think educationally wise, I think it needs to be in every schools in a healthy way, in a safe way. We're going to see this, and you'll quote me, I think we're going to see in the school systems where every kid has a little iPad that's their own chat or AI, and it's programmed to them. and then the teacher will they'll have sessions with the AI, and then the teacher will then say, okay, what did you learn? Or
That's interesting.
it is going to go that way. I see it, I visualize it, because I do sessions like last night. I was geeking out. I was using an AI called Notebook LM, and I would load everything up, created a podcast, and I'd listen to it, then I'd ask questions to the podcast. So now I'm learning in all different senses, right?
Right.
Audio, interaction, and the podcast would then react back to me and answer. That wasn't here when we did the podcast how many years ago?
3 years ago. No, things have changed so much since then.
Like, we're gonna see it just go to the next level.
In the next 3 years, it's going to change even more so,
Unfortunately, it's kind of when Google came out, we freaked out. When Photoshop came out, they freaked out. Oh my gosh, yeah. And now we're freaking because we're in a different era. We're going through different eras.
We're going through a different season of life right now.
There's a season, and it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, and that's what's, and this is what it is. And we didn't expect this. We didn't expect this back then, and we're not going to even know what to expect in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. No,
But the innovators are going to take it and go to the next. It's either you figure a way to if you're an entrepreneur, you need to figure out how to use it. If you're a parent, you need to figure out how to put it in your homes in a healthy way. And if you're a kid with a learning disability, just go to the next level. Now you can write books, you can do all sorts of things, because now a disability is not a disability. I don't think people see that. Yeah. Like, do you realize that they just took an intellectual disability like reading and writing? We just got rid of the literacy.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are seeing that. Like this is a grown adult telling you as illiterate, there is no literacy anymore, because now I can talk to it. I can spell it.
It edits it for you and autocorrects for you.
You would never know now that I.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
Wonderful times. I embrace it. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, you have to, instead of fighting it. And I feel like, a lot of people, we're too resistant. We avoid conflict too much, and we fight things too much.
Yeah, I used to.
And I think that at this point, I don't know if it's just me and getting older, but at this point, it's like it's too exhausting to fight that fight. Like, you have to pick your battles. You have to be open-minded. And, sometimes the things that we're fighting are actually things that could help us in the long run if we were open-minded to it. So
yeah, there's a lot of things we can do over time, and I think that's the messiness, because we've done so many things. We could have chose so many topics for this podcast, because we could have did business, we could have did.
Oh, and we'll talk about all of those things, Matt. I'm sure.
Yeah, but But I think what we're trying to drive home, if you were to sum it up in a few words, what are we trying to get to our listeners or people that start following this podcast? What is the intent, you think, here?
Simply Messy podcast is going to be a surprise, but so relatable to you. Yeah. And I think that's what I would say is that, if I were to say, oh, what's the one topic this podcast is about? There is no one topic. Yeah. If I were to say what the one topic is, it would be the ever-changing life that we live. And, I think, like I was saying earlier, we do so much in every role that we have, right? Whether it's a parent, a spouse, a friend, a daughter, or a son, whoever you are, whatever role you're playing. And I think that the messiness of life is what makes us who we are. And I think people are resistant to being messy, being chaotic. They're resistant to change. They're resistant to challenges. They're resistant to, conflicts and all of those things. And I feel like we live it every day. And if we're able to openly talk about all of our challenges and our messiness all the time, I think that people would be more open to being them. Just like I said earlier, just simply be. And that's the other thing. I love the word simplicity. Like, we've been talking a lot about the messiness side of the Simply Messy podcast, but the reason the word simply is there is I think we forget to just simply be. And sometimes it's the path of least resistance. Sometimes it's the least chaotic explanation of something that is probably the best one for you. And I think that we live in a world where we think too much because we're exposed to too much. Now that technology has advanced so much, we have so many different options, so many different opinions, when sometimes it's the simplest one that is the best one for us. It might not be the best one for everyone else, but it's the best one for me, right? Yeah. And I think the simplest thing that we need to be able to do is to figure out what's the best thing for you, right?
Yeah, and you have to really dial it in. I like that, because I think this podcast, Simply Messy, if I took a stab at it is just simplifying things and minimizing things.
Yeah.
becoming a minimizer, like basically eliminating the noise and just be okay that sometimes it's just going to be messy.
It is.
You just got to be okay. Oh, this is like I've been in those days. Everybody has. If you've been an entrepreneur, a mom, a dad, anything, there's days that are just real smooth and there's days that are just like
Chaotic.
oh, I need
messy.
Yeah, because you remember the Calgon Take Me Away, right? You remember, you just got to, some days you're just like, I'm just going to go lock myself in the room and not come out. And we have those days, and you have to say those are far from between, because if you're having a lot of those days, then there's some things you got to do. But I think that's what we're going to discover. Like, is this just a season? I love that. And then we're going to have a book coming out of this, right?
Oh, multiple books.
Yeah.
But yes, the ones that we are coming about, there's one just being simply messy.
Yeah.
And I think, just the, again, I love the word juxtaposition.
Yeah.
If people don't know what it means, it's just a comparison of the differences between two things, right? And whether that's us, you and I are very different, and just the comparison of our lives and, our kids and our roles, but also the similarities that we have as well, because in differences, we see similarities. Right?
Yeah, we do.
And so I love that we're able to kind of talk as friends, but also as colleagues, as partners, in business, in advocacy. We do a lot of advocacy together.
We do a lot.
But even just simply as being mutual human beings living on this earth, it's like, gosh, like there are things that I'm like, okay, are you going through that too? Or maybe it's more of a question for Celine, your wife. And, let me ask you from this perspective, like if I had a question about how does it feel from a husband perspective? I need to know so that I can go home and be able to have that conversation with my husband.
I can tell.
Being able to kind of be that sounding board. And what I'm also really excited about is the stories that we are able to tell. Just I said earlier, I learned so much from the different people that we meet. I mean, honestly, if our listeners could even see this podcast space, but the people that we met in this place has been amazing. But just fun. Learning from them and their histories and the people that are behind the scenes. We learn from them, and I am so excited to be able to tell the stories of those people, but also bring them on as guests and have conversations with them. And so there's going to be so much fun that we're going to have with this podcast. But it really isn't just a podcast about us and our lives.
No,
it's a podcast about all the people that we've met, the journeys that we've had, the conversations that we've had. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I want to go back before because I want the listeners to know who you are because you're modest about it. So Dr. Stefanie.
It took me a long time to get there.
Now, in your culture, are you the right doctor?
No, I am the wrong doctor.
You're the wrong doctor.
Yes,
and
I have a
people
PhD.
People if they're listening and not watching, what does that mean? Because if they don't know who you are, maybe they're just listening to this on Spotify. And they don't explain what that means not to be the right doctor in your culture.
Oh, my gosh. And I can't wait until we have conversations about our culture.
Don't let your mom listen to this.
I know, exactly. Oh, but she's a big fan of yours, so she'll be listening.
Okay,
don't worry.
'Cause I'm from St. George,
Yes, the whole St. George, comparison. I mean, culturally, in Asian culture, you're either a medical doctor or you're a lawyer, right?
Correct.
And it's funny because my husband's an optometrist, so also a doctor, an eye doctor, but not the right type of doctor, just like me. They always wanted me to be a medical doctor. But I feel like I've learned why, and it wasn't even necessarily the actual medical doctor. Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's great to be a medical doctor and have that person be a resource, but it's also the pride that they get from being able to say, my daughter can help you with this, my daughter can do this, my doctor knows this. It's a cultural thing, and it's honestly parent pride. And it had nothing to do with me, it had more to do with them. But yes, no, I'm not that type of doctor.
What doctor are you?
I have a PhD. So I don't know if a lot of people know this. A PhD is a doctor of philosophy, right? And what that means is you've gone through many, many years of schooling in academia to get to a place where you have this, again, a philosophy, right?
You're
you've studied
Socrates
something.
or
and just many years of research and studying and, actually writing dissertations and theses around a specific, philosophy, right? And so I did many years of research and study in clinical psychology, but then I also have this PhD in human development, and leadership studies.
And leadership studies.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings us to what we do as together. We consult and help companies in their human interaction and their leadership, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So really understanding systems by understanding
Love it.
people.
Love
Right. And so it's kind of a conjunction between that, psychology side versus the business side,
Yeah.
and being able to create these systems within organizations and companies based on understanding how the people in those organizations work and think and feel and behave. And I think that's where a lot of companies are, kind of having a disconnect right now, is they create these policies and procedures, but they forget to think about the people behind them.
And you're right, but I want to stay to you because I want the listeners to know how much knowledge you have. Like you're a doctor in human behavioral and leadership, right? But you also, what was your bachelor's in?
My bachelor's was in psychology.
So psychology, you're a
Yes.
licensed addiction counselor.
Yes, I am a licensed alcohol and drug counselor.
You've owned businesses in the past.
I've owned business. Yes, thank you.
And
Are we doing a commercial on me now?
Yes, no. Well, you'll do it to me because I want them to understand who you are. Like, we're not just two individuals that said, "Hey, we're
Yes.
going to do a podcast." Like, we do bring a lot of background to the table.
You will also see how uncomfortable I get
I know,
when I
that's
have to
why I'm
talk
doing
about
it.
me.
Yeah, I'm pushing you.
Love it. Thank you.
'cause
This is
one of the
why you are
things-
my friend.
Yeah, you don't say Dr. Stephanie ever, which tells me a
Ever.
lot about you. But
I know.
But,
I actually don't
yeah.
like it when people
Yeah.
say it. I mean,
yeah, Dr. Stephanie. So Dr. Hugh, or what's your Hugh? You go by
Well, see,
H.
it's Hui, and it's
Hui,
my married
Dr.
name.
Hui,
But
and
yeah.
we'll just call you Dr. Stephanie. But yeah. So Dr. Stephanie Huey is your title, because you earned it, but you choose not to do it.
No, just call me Stephanie. And it's funny how many times I've said that to people.
Yeah, and so the cool thing is you've owned businesses, but you've also have a huge resume of public service in the city, in the county. You're currently at the city now running their mental health, their wellness program. Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a wellness program. I'm part of the org development team.
You did a good job. I got to help be part of the citywide value conference.
Exactly. Well, I brought you in for a reason.
Yeah,
now we're going to
love it.
turn the tables, and I want you to tell the world. I mean, I feel like I am friends with people who kind of have that similarity in terms of caliber and just the drive. And I feel like when I met you, I felt like you had the drive in so many ways. So
You just thought I was a crazy person.
that too,
Yeah,
but then again, I am a crazy person too. But yes, like you just had the drive and you had the stamina and you had just so much behind you in terms of just your history. And I brought you in so many times to speak in my classes and the conferences and things like that. But because you do have such a rich background in terms of life experiences and now where you are at.
Yeah, I didn't get these bags just doing anything, Yeah, I think too, like that's what I want them to understand, your education and what you've done. Because the big thing is like our education, I'm the same way. I don't like to talk about like, hey, I done this, I did this. Like I had to do that in the class for the first time. But I think people, if you have a warmness and a confidence, you're going to attract people more.
Yeah.
Because you got to be warm, you got to be confident about what you do. Because if you could be really like a really good one. Like what I'm saying is you're really good at that. You're very warm and you're confident, so people like you. That's how you win and influence individuals.
I appreciate that.
Where we've had really high confidence, but low. Like if we use Homer Simpson, he's a very warm individual on The Simpsons, but he has very low confidence, right? And then you have what's the one guy? He was the boss, the really rich old guy. He's very confident, but very terrible on people. And so that's the key here. That's the thing that you have is very high warmth and confidence, so people get attracted to you.
So where do you fit in, Matt?
I'm probably the same, high warmth and confidence, and that's why people will use us. They'll call us and say, "Hey, I have this issue," and people always say, Matt, your tone is very calming and influencing." And I'm like, I'm just being me. I don't know. I just trying to, because when it's in crisis, I don't get freaked out. I'm like, okay, tell me more.
Yeah.
What's going on? You got this. Let's do this, and then because we both have that as skill set. That's a skill set you can't teach. It's who they are, because you'll have, because we've been around the very warm people that they're high blues if we use our personality styles, but they have very low confidence, and we know what that feels like, right? So a little back, let's do that. So because we're using this to kind of promote the show, my background, and I don't do this much, and so I'm going to kind of take a stab at it.
Tell
I
us
hate
about
it.
your background and how you
You know,
got
I went
here.
to school. Well, my background is education. I have a bachelor's in mass communication. That's like a jack in all trades and master in none. Because I got to learn a little bit of everything.
Of everything.
I got to learn radio. So I've done radio. I had a radio show at one
That's
time.
why you have your radio voice.
Yeah, and I had fun with it. It was fun. I did it for a long time here locally in Vegas. It was. You remember that? Did you ever listen? I was live.
I did not.
No, that was
can
prior
tell you
before
I did not.
you. Yeah, that was when I didn't know you. 12:30 a.m. I don't even know if it exists anymore.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. And then I did a lot of podcasting. So I did masters in communication. Then I did my master's, or no, that was my bachelor's in communication. My master's is in public administration, and public administration. But I had an emphasis on my bachelor's in film. So I did a lot of film, and so that was fun. And then I got my honorary doctorate a few years ago.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but
Congratulations.
it was a cool one. It was in humanities, so that honorary doctorate was. I don't put doctor either. I just put that little initial for fun. But because I have friends that did that and they'll put doctor, I'm like, you're gonna get challenged. Where was the school you went and got that honorary? I go, does it matter? I earned it. No, because I could be a therapist.
Life,
I don't have the degree like you, but I could be a clinical therapist if I wanted. But I just don't have the.
That's why you're a coach right now.
I enjoy what I do. So, and then I'm certified in True Colors. I'm certified in Bloom, and then and I'm certified in Bloom Growth. I'm a consultant in that area. That's probably been the funnest when I exited my business in 2021, and we got pulled over to Bloom to become the first coaches. They used to be traction tools for another system called the US, and then they became Bloom. And they broke away, and they're like, you want to be the first cohort of coaches? I said,
That's awesome.
You had to exit a company. You had to do all those things.
Wow.
And we've been at it for a while, and it's been fun. So, and then I wrote, my first book was The Courage to Learn Differently.
Which is an awesome book.
Intellectual disabilities using temperament theory with our mentor we knew, Don Lowry. Had passed since then. But and I wrote it with his wife, Erica, Walking Stick. Cool name. Her mom's a very well-known artist in New York. So it's been a fun journey. So I never I don't like doing this like you. I forget to share all the journeys that we've been through because entrepreneurship is not easy.
It isn't.
I've had a lot of failures in entrepreneurship. I had a lot of successes. Even in a success became a failure because the environment, and we'll talk about that, the environment in Nevada is very hard to do business in. And so we both have experienced that. And that's where people don't realize being an entrepreneur is tough.
It is tough.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
There's the ups and the downs.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But it's in my genes. I'll never be anything else.
But and that's why you're an expert at what you do in terms of coaching and consulting. Like, look at all the background that you've had with all of that, It's fun.
And I have the ability to see things and just, I can listen to somebody and say, I see what the issue is. Or bring them in, and that's been a gift. And I think that's my gift. I don't think a disability was a hindrance. I think it kept me from being so logical on things that I had to read the room, right?
Yeah.
Then I had to be the hardest one to work in the room because it's just I put more effort into it, right?
Right.
So that's my background. So I've been a couples coach. I did a lot of that over the years, and so we're going to bring a lot. So Simply Messy is not just random things. That I hope they understand the two hosts are very well dialed in.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna I'll toot your horn. You can just give me thumbs up.
Give me thumbs up, more than thumbs up. This is why we're still friends, and this is why we're still colleagues together because you do have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, but you're also a great family man, father, husband, and I value that about a good person. So
my wife is a wild stallion. She's been fun. I love her to death. She's such a her so for so many years. Her spirit is like she's a high confident. The warmth's not there, but she's a high confident. But everybody loves her, so I would say she's a good balancer.
Same as Alan, I feel like it's so funny.
They're funny.
They are.
They can get in a room and people love them, but and that's why they balance us.
Yeah.
I think that's why They've kept us insane. And honestly, to give a shout to her is my success came from her, because I think for men, we marry the right woman. And Alan can say this too, because I know that you helped him with his clinics. Like in the early, it's still on your voicemail. Thank you for calling.
It's still on my voicemail.
Yeah, I laugh every time I call you.
Know.
But behind a good person, if it's your husband, wife, your significant other, partner, it doesn't matter. If you marry the right person in your relationship, you go to the next level.
Yeah.
And I feel I found the right person, and she
you have
took
the right
me
people around you.
That's
the right
my
support.
success.
I agree.
I think my success in selling businesses and getting financially free was due to her.
Yeah.
I can make it, but I didn't know how to budget it. She budgeted it. So, and I shared that in our conference when I was over at the city. I was like,
came and I had you speak about family and finances. I feel like you're one of those experts that can talk about it from a family man perspective.
Way. Yeah, I don't come in and say put your money into this fund.
Right, exactly. Like you're not coming in as a financial advisor. You're coming in as a family man who knows. Yep.
Yeah, I'm teaching you that the home is a business, and it's an emotional side. And we manage the emotional so much we forget the business side. And you also got to, it's funny how it works, because you got to know where your strengths are. Like my strengths is to go create things, and her strength is to take that and make it into other things. And you got to be okay with that. Like, and I'm the free spirit and spender, and she's the saver. And so you just got to know all those things. But what's one more thing on this show, because our time's coming up? What is one more thing you want to end with? Oh gosh,
one more. No, I think it's just stay tuned. I feel like everybody just needs to you know what?
It's going to be fun.
This kind of episode right here, I think, is just a preview to all the things that we're going to talk about. I felt like this was really a hodgepodge of topics that we kind of touched on.
Blended everything.
But honestly, we came in unscripted, unprepared, which happens a lot. And, you know, it's like, this is who we are and this is what we're going to talk about, you know? And I feel like everybody just needs to stay tuned to kind of get to know us a little bit more, and also navigate all the things that we're navigating, but we also want to hear from everyone else too. So the one thing that we do have is our Instagram, which has that logo.
Yes, it does.
So if anyone find us, it's the Simply Messy Podcast, all one word.
Follow us.
And then, yes, definitely follow us. And, you know, if anything, keep following us, even if we have chaotic things happen where we might have an episode or two, but it's going to be there because this in itself took 3 years in the making. And, you know, that's about navigating the messiness of life. And I feel like that's the one thing I want everyone to know is don't give up on us, because we're not going to give up on you guys and everyone else. And we definitely want to hear from everybody. So, you know, find us, reach out to us, because what we talk about here is really about how everyone else is doing too. So
yeah, and I think just to take off, and this is where I'd be checking out, is that don't miss out, because one of my jobs as a co-host, I'm going to really pull all the wealth and knowledge out of Stefanie and give it to the audience, because she has a lot to offer, and she's been hidden up in other areas. And so we're finally getting her to come out and, well, it's being safe. It's you've always been safe. You always said, hey, I'm going to stay over here. Now it's time to give that wealth out.
You're going to challenge me, and this is why I need you.
Because Dr. Stefanie has to share all that happiness knowledge and everything you have. Because also for the women, you bring a lot for the women's side. Because, and I know a lot of people say, oh, here we go, another women. No, like, I think we both balance that. We can share what women need and what men need.
And you give me a perspective, you know, for us to understand too, from the perspective of like being a husband, being a father, and what that is. So I'm excited to be able to have these conversations with you.
We can't feminize the men anymore.
Yes, we're not going to. That's what you're going to be here for.
We got to embrace them. All right. Well, I think that's it. This is going to be good, and stay tuned. And I would say just really know that life is messy, and just on a way out, this is our bumper, is that don't give up and continue to not, and be okay with messiness, and stop overthinking things. Until next time, I think that's it.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Until
guys
next
later.
time.